Hello everyone, welcome to DIADEMY IAS. In this session, we are going to discuss about the Romantic age. In the different sessions, in the last different sessions, we discussed the different ages in English literature. Especially, we can say that Romanticism is a movement. Okay, so we have different movements in UPSC syllabus. Victorian age, Romantic age, Elizabethan period, and the impact of Renaissance and all. So the different movement also in UPSC mains syllabus, optional syllabus. So we can discuss here about Romanticism. We know that Romanticism is a movement started in 1798 to 1837. This is a period of Romantic period or Romanticism. 1798 to 1837 is the period of Romanticism. Actually, what is Romanticism? We can say that Romanticism is a movement. Romanticism is a movement. Which movement? It's a movement relating with art and literature. Okay, it's a movement relating with art and literature. So we can say that Romanticism is a movement. Actually, what is the meaning of the word movement? What is a movement? We can say that a movement means an action or awareness, right? Against a system or establishments. Okay, we can say that what is a movement? Actually, we know that in the history of India also we have the different movements. Like this, the literary movement here, it means that an action or an awareness against some sort of establishment or some sort of system existed in a society. Especially this movement mainly based on literature. Okay, we are discussing about the movement relating with literature. So this is a literary movement. So why this become a literary movement? Because we can say that this movement was against classicism. Okay, it means that, or neoclassicism. Okay, this movement actually was against neoclassicism. We know that what are the peculiarity of neoclassicism? We already said Romanticism is a movement. Which type of movement? A literary movement. So why this movement happened in England? That means that this movement was against a system of establishment or a conventional way of literary field in England. Especially it means that the existence of some sort of literary works and literary presentations during that time, and especially that this called as neoclassicism. And this Romanticism was against this neoclassicism. So we can say that Romanticism versus neoclassicism or classical literature. So what are the peculiarity of this movement? We know that during the time we already explained about some important details regarding with the history of English literature. That means in English literature we have the different types of invasion in England, invasions in England. Okay, so this invasion directly or indirectly influenced the English literature, like the different works during that time. Okay, so the invasions like we already explained about the history of English literature, that means Anglo-Saxon invasion there, and we also we know that this Anglo-Saxons, mainly the three community or the three types of people or three groups of people, and they are Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. And the second type, then we discussed about the influence of Anglo-Normans. Okay, actually these people from France, and their influence highly impacted the literature in England, specifically literary works in England. Okay, so Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Norman, and especially the influence of France, that means the language French, influenced the English literature. Okay, so during that time in England, French, Latin, Greek languages, we know that all these languages have its own role in the development of English literature. Okay, so these languages, during that time, these languages mainly concentrate or mainly for the higher community. That means that not for the common, it's not accessible to the common people in England. And during that time, the common people normally use the language that is English. Okay, actually that time English was the language which used by the common people in England. Okay, which was the language used by common people in England. And this people, the common people in England, used the English language during that time. But the influence of this Anglo-Norman or the people from France, they used the French language. That language was specifically for the superior community in that time, and it was prohibited or not accessible to the common people. So that was the system existed in England. And that time also a lot of literary works in that time. So that period was generally we can classify later, that is the classicism like periods, different literary works were there. But it's not for the common people, it's for the higher community or educated people in England. So the Romanticism, our topic, this Romanticism mainly focused on the literature for the common people in England. That means during that time, a lot of writers, specifically we can say that the Wordsworth, Coleridge, like the different writers that time, they used their writings to aware or their language, they use the symbol language, they use the symbol English language. And through this literary works, they try to aware the community. And it was actually was a protest. This Romanticism or romantic literary works, where the protest against conventional literature existed in England from 17th century onwards. Okay, so that's an important point. So actually we said that this is a movement. So actually this movement aims to give the priority for the common people in England. Okay, common people in England. So that is an important point here relating with the introduction of Romanticism. So what is Romanticism? Romanticism is a movement. Which type of movement? Art or literary movement to highlight the demand of common people. They use the normal way of English language and it easily accessible to the common people in England. And this movement, Romanticism, actually aims or try to protest against some conventional way of literary presentation during that time. So that is the introduction for Romanticism. Okay. Then next we can discuss about the beginning of Romanticism. How Romanticism or Romantic age started. So here we can discuss about an important literary work or a publication of lyrical ballads. Okay, lyrical ballads. Okay, so we can undoubtedly say that lyrical ballads is considered as, or this work can be considered as the beginning of Romantic age in England. And we know that this is a literary work by two important writers. Which are the two important writers? William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, S.T. Coleridge. Okay, so these are the two important writers. They collaboratively published a work. That work is named as Lyrical Ballads, and this Lyrical Ballads is considered as the beginning of Romantic age in English literature. Okay, so this is an important point here. And here let's discuss about the difference of age of reasons and age of romance or romantic age. So let's discuss. Okay, so here age of reason. What is the difference between age of reason and romantic age? Age of reason and romantic age. What is the difference? What are the difference? We can classify it point by point. Okay. So let's discuss in what is the age of reason. We can simply say that age of reason, it means that it's relating with, or it explains this age of reason mainly focused on the universal experiences. Okay, it's mainly focused on universal experiences. universal experience. Okay. Age of Reasons mainly focused on universal experiences. Okay. And gave more priority to value of society. Value of society was also included in the work of Age of Reasons. Mainly the people during that time mainly focused on the experiences, and they gave more priority to the experience and value of society. And next one is during that time mainly focused on value of rules. Value of rules. This is an important point here. So what is the value of rules? It means that during the Age of Reason, or it means that we already said like the neoclassicism period or classical types of writing, mainly focused, the English literature mainly focused on some sort of set of rules, and the literary works or devices, like they used their language within some sort of rules, and this rule also affect the readers. Specifically we can say that it's specifically for some educated communities, and it's not for the common people. So that is a different, that is the main point relating with the Age of Reason. And let's look into the Romantic age. So considering the Age of Reason, what are the peculiarity in Romantic age, or the writers in Romantic age? What are the peculiarity? It means that imagination in Romantic age mainly focused on imagination. That's an important point. In the Romantic age, the writers mainly focused on imagination. They used the different types of devices in English literary works that mainly based on imagination. Okay, that's an important point here. Then, in this Romantic age, here we say the Age of Reason, value of society was important. But in Romantic age, we can see in Romantic literature, mainly experiences shared. Okay, personal experiences, not the society. Okay, personal experiences shared in this time. Personal experiences shared in this time during the Romantic age. That's an important point. We have to understand this point here. Okay, next one is, in this period, we called it as a rule. Okay, the Age of Reason, mainly a set of rules were there. That means a set of restrictions in literary works and presentation. But in case of a Romantic age, it was mainly based on human values, not rules. Okay, human values, based on human values, and considering human being, gave more priority for human being, not for rules. So that is the difference between the Age of Reason and the age of Romantic or Age of Romanticism. And this Romanticism mainly focused on freedom. Freedom of writers, freedom of imagination, freedom of presentation. So these are the two different points we have to keep in our mind when we prepare this Romantic movement. Actually, we said Romantic movement means a movement against some rules, a set of conventional structure. And they used this Romantic movement to convey the freedom or to express their freedom in literary works, and it will be the useful for the common people, because before this time we discussed that the society was mainly based on some sort of restrictions, specifically linguistic based, and also cultural wise, social wise, political wise, like that. Okay, so in different types of restrictions were in England during the pre-romantic time. And during this romantic period, the writers used the simple language, imaginations, and specifically shared personal experiences rather than rules. So these are the different points we have to keep in our mind relating with Romanticism in England. Okay, Romanticism in England. Then the next we can discuss about the important points relating with Romanticism. What are the important points relating with, or features relating with Romanticism? Okay, so peculiarity of Romanticism or romantic age. Peculiarity of romantic age. What are the peculiarity of romantic age? We can easily say that the peculiarity of romantic age. The first one is glorification of nature. First one is glorification of nature. Glorification of nature. What is glorification of nature? It means that during this time, all literary works, specifically we can say that William Wordsworth, Taylor Coleridge, S.T. Coleridge, Robert Southey, then Byron, like that, like different writers are there, P.B. Shelley, like that, different writers in that period, and they used mainly nature. Specifically, we can say that William Wordsworth, but the glorification of the nature, the glorification of world, was the common feature of that time. So that is the first point. And second one is imagination. Imagination is the common feature during the Romantic age, Romantic literary works. Imagination is the common feature. That means during that time, all the literary works based on imagination, not relating with the logic or reasons. It based on imagination. Okay, it based on imagination. And next one is aesthetic. What is aesthetic? Aesthetic means, what is the word of aesthetic? Aesthetic means beauty. All the literary works mainly based on beauty, the presentation of beauty. And fourth one, what is fourth feature? Solitude. Fourth feature is solitude, is the fourth feature. What is solitude? That means loneliness. Okay, loneliness. What is loneliness? Because most of the literary writers use loneliness as their theme. That means through this loneliness, the writers try to convey the freedom of an individual, not connecting with a religion, not connecting with a group, not connecting with a community, not connecting with a set of rules, not connecting with a society. Okay, so normally they represent the individual, and individual is a sign or the symbol of freedom. And this is one of the peculiar feature of romantic literary works. Okay, romantic literary works. And next one is, fifth one is past. Past. What is past? We know that past means that they included the important themes. They included the important themes like past incidences in their life, because the almost all writings in that time mainly based on the past memories. Okay, so that is, past is the important theme during the romantic literary works. And sixth one is spirituality. Spirituality. What is spirituality? We know that during the time of the Middle English literature, we see, or the Renaissance period as well, during the time of Elizabethan time, the religious restrictions was loose. That means with the impact of, with the influence of Queen Elizabeth first, people became more friendly that time. But actually, we know that before that time, in the beginning of the history of Britain or English literature, we can say that religion was an important factor, or religion was an important barrier, considering whenever we refer to the life of common people, because all are functioning in a set of rules relating with religion, or a set of social restrictions. So in case of the Romantic age, the literary works mainly not based on religion, but based on spirituality. Spirituality means some sort of some beyond the religious meaning. That means not in a restricted way, but they take spirituality as the common theme in literary works. The symbol of, for example, love, spiritual love, platonic love. Okay, because not materialistic. Most of the ideas or imaginations was based on spirituality. So that is an important point here. And next, seventh one is personification. Personification. What is personification? Personification, we know that actually personification is a figure of speech. Okay, personification is a figure of speech. Then what is personification here? Through this literary works, the Romantic literary writers used. Because personification here means that they used some natural objects or natural things with human life, and they symbolically present both the comparison with nature, with beauty, sorrow, happiness, eternity, like that. So specifically, they compare a person with a star, person with a flower, river, like that. So actually, the personification was an important feature in the Romantic literary works. So these are the important features. Then next, eighth one is, most of the Romantic literary works, we can say that biographical. What is the autobiographical? Here, autobiographical. Okay, most of the literary works during the Romantic age was based on autobiographical. So what is autobiographical? We can simply say that when we read a literary work from the Romantic age, we can easily understand that poem or story, prose or play, whatever. We can easily understand that this particular work conveys some sort of experience of the author. Like we know that we already we already explained about Lucy poem by William Wordsworth. And actually Lucy, we know this is an anonymous, actually Lucy was an unknown person. Actually we don't know who was Lucy. But William Wordsworth used Lucy as a symbolic character, or a representative, or a representation for love, beauty, sadness, and it directly or indirectly connected with William Wordsworth's mindset. So that's what we can say, that during the time of Romantic literary works, with personification and autobiographical related works, a lot of different types of works during that time based on autobiographical or self-based, okay, autobiographical, self and autobiographical. That's the correct term. So these are the common peculiarity of romantic literature in England. Okay, England. Then we can say that some sort of different writers, the important writers during that time. And mainly we can classify, there are two generations of writers. Okay. Two generation writers during Romantic age. Two generation writers during the Romantic age. The first generation includes, mainly first generation includes William Wordsworth, Southey and Walter Scott. Walter Scott. Okay. William Wordsworth, Southey and Walter Scott. Okay. These are the important writers during the Romantic age, considered as the first generation writers. Then second generation writers are Byron, Keats, P.B. Shelley. Okay, so these are the second generation writers during the Romantic age. So we can classify these two types of writers in English literary periods, specifically Romantic age. The first generation, William Wordsworth, Southey, Walter Scott, and second generation writers are Byron, Keats and Shelley. Okay, so these are the important features. The next one, what are the literary features of Romantic age? What are the literary features of Romantic age? Literary features of Romantic age. What are the literary features of Romantic age? Literary features of Romantic age. The important literary feature is, first one is subjectivity. Subjectivity is an important feature. Subjectivity. Okay, subjectivity is an important feature in Romantic age. And second one is rustic life. Rustic life. Third one is imagination. Third one is imagination. Rustic life, subjectivity, rustic life, imagination. And the fourth feature is use of common language. Use of common language. Use of common language. So these are the four different features of Romantic age. Then let's discuss what is subjectivity, what is rustic life, what is imagination, and what is use of common language. Here, subjectivity means we can say that mainly based on emotion. Or we already said that the Romantic age mainly give priority for human being or personal experience. Okay, so in the Romantic age, the writers mainly used the theme based on emotion, feelings or experiences. So that's in common, we can say that subjectivity. Mainly all the works based on subjectivity. And what is rustic life? Rustic life means mainly based on remote landscape or village oriented landscape, common remote areas there, not based on not highly based on the urban areas, like remote presentation normally used in that time. And next one is imagination. We already said imagination means the poet generally used the different types of imagination and connecting with nature. Connecting with nature. Okay, connecting with nature, that is an important feature. Okay. The next one is use of common language. What is use of common language? We know that English was the language generally used by the common people in England. Okay. And the Romantic writers generally used English as their language. At the same time, they used very simple presentation, very simple way of presentation. Okay, so these are the important points relating with uh, relating with the Romantic literary features. Okay, then next we can discuss about the important writers in Romantic age. 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 And we can say that Wordsworth is an important writer. Wordsworth. And Wordsworth wrote the different works, important works like Daffodils. Okay, during that time, different works from William Wordsworth. Okay, mainly lyrical ballads, joining with the S.T. Coleridge. S.T. Coleridge. Okay, William Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge, and Byron, Shelley, Lord Byron. Then P.B. Shelley. Okay, Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley, all these are the important writers. Or Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley. We have Southey and John Keats. Okay, John Keats. John Keats. Southey. Okay, all these are the important writers during that time. Okay, important writers during that time. And all their writings mainly based on imagination. All their writings mainly based on imagination. Then personal experiences. Then mainly autobiographical. Okay, all these are the features. Commonly we can say that these writers generally use these type of devices, specifically different type of devices in the Romantic age, specifically personification. The important feature is personification. They used personification as the common feature. Okay, so these are the important features relating with the writers during the Romantic age. Okay, then next we can discuss about what are the behind factors behind the formation, or the factors behind the Romantic age. Why Romanticism emerged, or what are the factors mainly influenced Romanticism? And we can say that we already said lyrical ballad is the important work during that time. Okay, lyrical ballad is the important work during that time, that we already said. Here we can discuss about what are the factors. The first factor is industrialization or industrial revolution. Industrial revolution during that time, that was an important factor behind the beginning, or behind the formation of Renaissance movement, the industrial revolution. And next one is American independence. American influence or independence. Okay, American influence is an important factor. And French Revolution. Next one is French Revolution. French Revolution is also one of the important factor behind the Romantic movement. And next one is industrialization, industrial revolution. Then industrialization, that means industrial revolution. And next one at this point is industrialization. Industrialization. Okay. So we can say that all these are the factors influenced or became the reason for the Romantic movement in England. Okay. So these are the important factors relating with the factors behind the Romantic movement in England. And next one is, what are the impact? What are the impact or result? What are the impact of Romantic movement? What are the impact of Romantic movement? We can say that the impact of Romantic movement is use of common language. First one is use of common language. Use of common language. First impact is use of common language. Okay, we already said the common people generally use the English during that time, but before this period, Romantic literary period, the common language in England, that is English, only used for the common people, but they are prohibited from other languages like French, because in English literature, that means during that time the literary works mainly based on this language. The highly influential languages are French, Latin, like that. So with the impact of this Romantic age or the Romantic writers, English became more familiar and common in literary works. So that's an important point here we have to remember. And next one is liberation of rules. Liberation of rules. That means we already discussed. The liberation of rules means during that time a lot of restrictions existed in England. That means especially we can say that religious restrictions there, political, and the educated communities enjoyed the more powers, and they can read the literary works because the language and the presentation is uh, based on the other foreign languages like French and all. And in literary presentation also there were a set of rules and regulations relating with the presentation of language and literature. And with the impact of this period or the Romantic Age, the writers changed the existing rules or existing regulations. So that is the next impact in Romantic Age. Okay. And the third one is richness of language. Richness of language. What is richness of language? Mainly we can say that lyricism, like lyricism. Okay, it means that what is lyricism here? We can say that a lot of poems, a lot of literary works published during this time, normally not in a restricted way, simple language. And next one is richness of language means love of nature, because the writers during this time wrote their literary work or wrote their poems in a very simple way, and it's generally connect with the common things in nature. Okay, that means that before that time we know that mainly based on noble stories, that means noble based aspects, or kings ruling, okay, kings ruling, administration, and noble community. That means before the period of this time, mainly literary works based on noble community. That means story or poem based on noble community, or the hierarchical community only. But when in the Romantic Age, mainly literary works based on nature, and it's very common because the poets use their language to present the beauty of flower, beauty of the sky, nature, stars, rivers, streams, etc., valleys, etc. And love was the common feature that time, and all these are the love of nature, intimacies, attachment, personal feelings. All these are common. So the people in that time easily accessible and easily read all these literary works, and this time is considered, we can consider this period as the period of language. That means richness of language, the different types of devices used that time, and it was easy to read and easy to understand, and it also improved the language, English language in England. So these are the important impacts we have to remember relating with Romantic Age. Okay, so these are the important points relating with Romantic Age. Okay, so we discussed about the important points relating with Romanticism, which are the important factors influence the development of Romantic movement in England, and how it influenced the English language and literature, and what are the result, what are the impact, all we discussed, or that all are these things we discussed in this class, today's session. And these are the important points relating with the Romantic age. Then, okay. Then what are the common top theme? Next, theme of Romantic literary works. Theme of Romantic literature. Mainly, the theme of the Romantic literature, we can say that the themes are the important theme. We already said first one is nature. Nature was the important theme during this time. Okay. William Wordsworth is considered as the pioneer of this Romantic movement or Romantic age, and who specifically used nature. And William Wordsworth says an important thing is that the spontaneous flow of writing, that is the basic thing we have to understand that. And he mainly focused on the sentence, that is return to nature. Return to nature. Okay, return to nature. That means that William Wordsworth says that people or readers to go back to nature or love the nature, the beauty of nature. So nature is an important theme in Romantic literature, important theme. And next one is loneliness, was an important theme. Third one is death. Death was a common theme in Romantic literary works. And fourth one is social conditions. Social conditions was an important theme during this time. And comparisons, that means personifications. Personification with nature. Personification with nature is an important theme during this Romantic age. So all these are the important themes generally used the writers during the Romantic literature or Romantic movement or Romantic age. So these are the important points relating with the introduction of Romantic age. So we discussed about what is Romantic age, what are the factors influence the development of Romanticism, and what are the common features in Romantic literature, and what are the impact from this literary works, and the common features. And then we discussed about the important writers, the first generation, second generation writers. Okay, so these are the important points we have to remember relating with the Romantic age in England or Romanticism. Okay, so these are the important points here. Then let's see in the next class with the next topic. Thank you. Have a nice day.